As we begin this new year, many of us are thinking about what we want this year to look like. 2020 was kind of rough, and I know that we're all thinking that 2021 is going to be better. For most of us, this means that we're taking a look at the things that we didn't do or didn't accomplish and trying to improve them. Now, while I believe that improvement is usually a really worthy endeavor, I want to help you avoid some of the major pitfalls that happen around, January 8th, when everybody seems to give up on their goals. Now, why are these resolutions so hard to keep? Why can we not find the motivation to just stick to something? Is there something wrong with all of us, or is there something wrong with this cycle that we're falling into? Now, first things first, I want you to think of all that you have already accomplished. We all have habits, good habits and bad habits. But what is it in our lives that makes us feel like that we're a failure time and time again? Is it not finishing that project that we resolved to finish last year? Is it not journaling like you promised yourself that you would? Is it not sticking to your diet or your workout routine that you committed to over and over again? All right. Are you feeling that pit of anxiety in the bottom of your stomach? I want to help you stop this negative cycle. I did this for years, and I always ended up feeling like a failure, and I ended up having the same result. Year in, year out, I would have the same goals on January 1. It was like I could just copy and paste them from the last year because I just couldn't stick to it. Now, what message are we sending ourselves when we say, I'm a failure because I didn't accomplish these lofty goals? For most of my life, I believed that I was a failure because I couldn't stick to a diet or workout routine consistently. I was convinced that I was broken. It seemed to me that everyone around me was able to stick to these goals, but something was wrong with me because I can't. I went into every diet or workout regimen trying to just beat myself into submission this time. When I finally began to let go of this worldly view of success, I started to see myself with new eyes. I was doing amazing things that I just never gave myself credit for. I thought and I believed that I was not capable of being disciplined. But then I looked at a few things that I did do daily, and I made a list. I had made a commitment to read my scriptures every day. And to this day, since my son was in kindergarten and now he's in 6th grade, I have not missed a day. That is pretty amazing. I pray regularly. I make my bed every day. I brush my teeth twice a day. Something as small as that is something that you do that is a good habit. I saw that I was actually really capable of keeping a commitment, and the narrative in my mind began to change. In his book, Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink has laid a really solid framework for success when it comes to keeping your commitments. He reminds us that motivation is not the same thing as discipline. Motivation is fickle and changing, but discipline is lasting. Now, I promise you, as you see the areas that you are already exercising discipline, you will begin to build on those things. It's like a muscle. It takes time to strengthen it. As you make discipline a part of your daily life, your life will change for the better. The second thing that he recommends is to stay humble. As you develop your muscles of discipline, you will become more confident. And this is exactly the way that it should be. We have to be mindful that our newfound confidence does not turn to arrogance. Being humble is not just knowing that you are not above another person or above anything, but that you are not above doing what it takes to get the job done. Where I come from, we call getting arrogant, getting too big for your britches. So I will say that to myself sometimes. All right, Kacey, don't get too big for your britches. No, I want you to think about bringing your dedication and your discipline to even the most menial tasks, like cleaning the toilet, and stay humble while you notice that you're making progress. Now, the last thing that Jocko teaches in his book is to take extreme ownership of everything in your life. Playing the blame game is a sure way to stay stuck. It's the number one thing I get asked here in the community is, how do I get unstuck? I've done a video on it in the past, and I'm telling you again, the number one way to feel unstuck is to take ownership of your stuff. For me, as I practiced this idea of taking ownership and not blaming others for my problems, I began to see changes in my thought patterns. The shame that has normally plagued me began to melt away because I felt empowered by the idea that I was no longer a victim to my circumstance. Now, again, the most common problem that I see in my coaching practice is my client feeling stuck because they are constantly feeling taken advantage of, or wronged, or resentful, or feeling victimized. As we work through these issues together, I have witnessed the miracles that take place in marriages and relationships as these same clients have started to own their own stuff. They begin to feel empowered to change their minds and ultimately change their situation. Now, I want to make sure to give a big disclaimer to anyone in an abusive relationship or a situation. This is not your fault. You are not in the wrong, and this is not of your doing. I have worked with clients that have endured abuse, and I would never insinuate that you need to own your part of anyone who is abusive. That being said, all of us can take ownership of our lives from this point forward and choose better each time we notice these negative patterns emerge. It takes courage to make the first move towards a better path. Remember, you are capable. Look at what you have already done. You are doing better than you think you are. As you begin this new year, resolve to be kind to yourself and give yourself some credit for all that you are already doing, and replace your negative self-talk with empowering affirmations. And if you need one to start with, here's one. You are amazing. Remember, motivation is fleeting and discipline is something solid that you can build on like a muscle. Don't get stuck in a New Year's resolution rut this year. Now, I want to remind you to like this video so that YouTube will keep sharing this message of hope for the new year. Make sure to hit that bell so that you can always be the first to know when I put out new empowering content for my community. And I want to thank you for being in my community, and I will see you on my next video.